Hello, people of Earth. This is Tesco with Rip Kenny and Trap Jesus, and you're listening to the Human Music Podcast. Woo!
Human Music Podcast. I like it.
Yo, 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 what is up, humans? We're back with another episode, another very special guest. We're here today with my boy Chris, aka Spirit Host. He makes super, super dope bass music that's a very well melded together fusion of like lo-fi, rhythm, left field, bass.
Check the man's out. Check the man's out.
Yeah.
Hits.
Thank you.
Super cool style. And yeah, on that note, Chris, thanks for joining us. You know, I know you're busy with school and everything. Luckily, we could make this work on reading week.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Super stoked to talk more about sort of what you're into, the whole 9 circles concept, how you go about writing music. And yeah, with that, you want to tell the people a bit more about yourself, how you sort of got started in music, what inspires you, and
I started
how that brought you here.
Okay. I started in music. I started piano at like 3 years old. And it was just all classical stuff pretty much till like the 8th or 9th grade. And there was a lot of competitions that I would do well in, and there was one year where instead of like reading the music and getting the song perfect, I like modified it into like my own song, and I got like 4th place or something, and then I quit piano forever because I was like, I'm the only one here like making it cool. I'm not just like playing the same song over and over again. But that's a whole other conversation. But
it's a good conversation to have.
After that, I started just messing around with kind of not really producing, but making songs on Guitar Hero, because you used to be able to like just Guitar Hero and phone apps like GarageBand and stuff. And then I transitioned to FL Studio.
Guitar Hero? You can make songs on Guitar Hero?
Yeah. Guitar Hero World Tour with like the drum set and guitar. You can literally like write a song and then people can download it and play it. Like people used to write like Mario remixes and shit.
You're blowing my mind right now, dude.
Yeah. I was like really into it. It was like big on Newgrounds and stuff.
That's fucking awesome. That's like you hear some of your favorite producers when they talk about their origin story. They're like, yeah, I had this like Mario Paint game, and you input notes on the PlayStation.
Oh,
it's like
that's actually a thing. I had that on PC. Yeah, you could put like like the mushrooms for like a.
Yeah, exactly. You had these little samples that you could fuck with. It's so funny, like people getting started, like tracing your favorite artist back to like stumbling across this dumb sampler thing in some random game that they might have never found.
Is it PlayStation music generator how dubstep got started? I feel like I heard a legend.
No kidding.
Yeah, apparently Scream and Benga had something to do with PlayStation and how they like put the snare on the 3 instead of the 2 and the 4, something like that. I think you're right. I don't know the story either. I'm actually going to look that shit up.
Somebody Google it out there in the universe.
Young Jamie.
We need a Jamie. But you were saying though, man, you got started, you started with the piano, wanted to do more than just repeat everybody else's, music, and then found out there's some zany programs for you to just dive into.
Yeah.
And then where to go?
Well, like the programs are good, especially because I'm like a pretty antisocial person. So I'm like a one-man band type of guy. So like I wasn't going to join a band in high school or anything. I kind of just like spent all my time on my laptop. So basically I started with FL Studio, and then it got to the point where when my songs were getting to like 70 plus tracks, like there was like massive CPU issues and like crackling, and like no matter what I did. So then I swapped over to Ableton because I heard it's like less heavy with the plugins, and if you just use native plugins and stuff. In about 2014, and then ever since I'm here. So I've been producing since like I guess 12 years old if you count Guitar Hero. I'm 24. So like,
All right, half your life.
yeah.
What'd you start off producing when you were on FL first?
Oh, like progressive house electro.
Yeah, so were you into like Avicii, Dead Mouse, that whole?
Yeah, definitely.
EDM?
Like I would write like 8-minute songs. There might be a song. I have an old Alias. There might be a song on the internet somewhere, but I don't know. I used to write like 8-minute melodies, just like Dead Mouse does, kind of with his like. If you listen to his 7 Deadly Sins album, with like just like all the repeating piano stuff. But anyways, where was I going with that? I forget what it was.
We were just talking
Origin
about
stories.
like DAWs, yeah, and you write Ableton.
Yeah, now I love Ableton. I'll never switch to anything else.
Yeah. Cool, man. You want to talk a bit about the style you've been writing as of, I don't want to say as of late, because it's been a while now. You're on your second project, put out, was it 24 or 26 song project?
Yeah, that was 26.
26 song project.
In August.
Of some of the most unique bass music I've heard in quite a while. You want to talk about sort of who's inspiring you that side of it?
Well, the people who are inspiring me are mostly metal bands and like bass producers with unique arrangements, like Eugene. Like people who just like, it's not just 8 bars, 8 bars, 8 bars, you know what I mean? But yeah. I lost where I was going again.
You're not worried about like getting a DJ to play it in their set. Like,
yeah, exactly. I would honestly, I'm not even really interested in DJing myself that much. Yeah, to be honest, I'm kind of more in it for the writing.
Totally. You know, honestly, like if I had my way, I'm the same. I would rather just lock myself in my studio and write music.
Yeah. Or you know, like play an instrument on stage, like make a one-man band type shit.
Yeah.
Play a guitar made out of a shovel set.
Yeah, just for fun. I don't know. I just want to jump and play an instrument like a rock star.
Yeah,
totally. So how has that been? Oh, sorry, Evan.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, the DJing thing is funny because it's like it's the means to an end. If you wanted to make like real like living money from writing the music, right? And this electronic setting, it's kind of funny. Also, side note, the PlayStation game that Scream grew up writing music on was called Music 2000.
Music 2000.
Yeah. He was
back when it was cool to say that year.
Wild times. But yeah, continue.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah. So how do you sort of envision that live thing? And you've been very hands-on with actually creating new instruments.
I would like to do like looping sets at like just like hipster bars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. That's just what I like. I'll maybe like make a glitchy sound with this, and then just like loop it cool in a cool beat, and just like maybe just get some drum pads in there and sing. I've been practicing singing a lot lately.
Oh, sick.
And especially like screamo.
Sick.
And I found out that it's mostly post-processing actually, but screamo's fucking hard.
No, all you got to do is just bring an actual megaphone and just scream into the megaphone into the microphone. I've seen people do it on loop sets, and it actually sounds incredible. Like, yeah, this guy Aaron fucking Daniels. He is a fisherman on commercial fishing boats, and he goes out and writes all this one-man band loop station stuff when he's at sea for months on end, and then he comes back to the mainland. He plays in Seattle often, and he'll just like jam out. Yeah, it's just like him, a loop station, a guitar, a bunch of weird pedals, like octave pedals and stuff, and then a megaphone that he screams most of his vocals into the mic with. It's badass. I've seen him live. It's been a hot minute, but he's definitely an act to see. I can see you doing something like that.
Does he have like an album released or anything?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Aaron Daniels. Aaron fucking Daniel.
Okay. Okay. So what do I search on Spotify? Aaron Daniels or Aaron fucking Daniels?
I imagine just Aaron Daniels. One time, Ill Gates told me that the dot in his name stands for motherfucking. Ill motherfucking Gates, but
Super condensed down.
yeah, for flyer purposes, maybe maybe not hard swear words in your logo.
Aaron Daniels returned to nothing besides one guy who just made one song, which I don't think is Aaron.
There's always
no worries. We're talking about Spirit Host. We'll circle back around to Aaron Daniels when we're off air.
I want to know.
Yeah, unique concept.
I want to know what that sounds like to put a microphone to megaphone into a microphone and then record it and then like release that song. Like how clipped is it? Like what kind of does it sound like a tube distortion, or is it just like?
Well, if you like gain stage the mic you recorded into, and then you're it's just like homemade. It's like distortion, like putting tinfoil on your monitors.
Yeah, and then like a band pass to kind of like give it that honky action. I'm just curious, professionally curious.
Okay, another way you might be able to find him is by searching One Man Band, but not BAND, BANNED. One Man Band.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this afterwards.
Let's circle back. Yo, so Spirit Host, what do you envision this like live set looks like? You said hipster bars, some interesting instruments, screamo music, but does it have a look? Like what do I see when I'm on stage?
I guess I would probably just make my own visuals by taking pictures of stuff like Dante's Inferno, for example. I'd probably make like a compilation to put behind me, and but I would just probably have like a table to the left of me and to the right of me with like a bunch of modular shit, maybe like a kick and a snare or something.
I'll get some real drums in there.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, what sort of sparked you off in that direction of like creating your own instruments and getting a bit wackier with it? Was there like a specific artist you saw do that sort of peaked?
Yeah, Simon the Magpie on YouTube and Look Mom No Computer. They build instruments / modify instruments like all the time, and that's what really got me into it.
Okay, sick.
That's badass. You know that like, I can't be a real beat maker because I don't make my own drums, and I gotta grow goats. Like, bro, you're growing goats out here, man. This is badass.
Right.
Music with all the goat farming and whatnot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how has that like changed your process in sound design nowadays? Do you still use like conventional?
Oh yeah. I still pretty much only use Operator and like Ableton plugins, but for like maybe like a performance, I'll use like the shovel guitar or something, like a Twitter video, or like an Instagram video, because you can't really go anywhere right now. But there's like Villains in Windsor. I'll probably do some live shows there.
Sick.
But have you used the shovel guitar in any songs?
Yeah. I have one made. It's like I made an intro and a drop. And I was gonna like film myself playing it and like make like a compilation, but I just like didn't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you showed us that shovel guitar. I think at this point you got to show the viewers.
Oh yeah.
Show the YouTube audience at home what this thing looks like, because I love it.
All right, so this is the beast here. So what we have here is a shovel I got at a yard sale for $5.
Woo!
An extra pickup from this test bench guitar. I drilled a hole in the shovel for the output and the string, and then it goes up to this hockey stick piece that has a tuner in it.
Oh my god!
And there you have it. It sounds amazing when you like actually put like a rack on it, like Lead by Cabinet in Ableton or something.
It probably has just like such like a rich, like metallic tone,
a dirty, earthy metal.
Yeah,
shovelly tone.
I'm pretty sure I would dig that tone.
I think we need a Spirit Host Rip Kenny collab featuring the shovel
Yeah, I
guitar.
can see that being epic.
Yeah, it's called
Let's do it.
6 Feet Deep. Comes out maybe, I don't know.
2021.
Hey.
What's it tuned to?
Drop F.
So I gotta ask, did you buy that shovel for $5 with the express intent of drilling holes in it and attaching a string?
Yeah,
or you're like, oh, look, that's a good deal on a shovel, and then realize, what do I have to shovel? How can I make this make noise?
I bought it for camping this summer. I used it for the camping trip, and then when I got home, I saw a video of the guy who did it, and I was like, that's easy actually, and I did it. So
there you go. Who says you can't?
Dude, I love that DIY mentality. Like, fucking, yeah, I could do that. Like, I got a drill and I got some soldering equipment. I got it.
Heck
Yeah, I love it. I think there comes a point too in like most people's producing career where you're just like so in the box all the time, and the process down to a point, and then you just get to a point where you want to start using more like natural or more like even beaten up or ghetto kind of instruments, just anything to like inject a little flavor. So to see that is super cool, because you've taken a very interesting pick to your choice in instrumentation. Most people would be like, oh, I'm going to go learn this already established thing. Versus like the whole circuit bending thing, for example, is like totally foreign to me. But from what I've seen through the content you've been posting on your socials, which link down below, has all been really unique, unconventional sound design. So, you know, it's like instantly a way to differentiate yourself from a bunch of other producers, which I think is really interesting. I'm curious, like the circuit bending stuff, how does that actually work? Because I saw you would like brush this metal wires, or is it just one wire?
So basically, I'll kind of explain like the simple things of it. You find like a pitch resistor, which it took me a while to find. You just like feel around the board while it's plugged in until like it starts messing with the pitch. And then you just solder a wire to the beginning of it, put a potentiometer, a wire to the end of it, and then you have a pitch bend.
Okay.
And same thing goes for like if you have like maybe there's a resistor that sounds like a bit crush when you put a potentiometer and turn it on, or if you add like a button, like a kill switch button to one, maybe it'll like be like a echo or something. It's just all trial and error, and that's why I love it, because there wasn't a single one of this model on the internet built like or in process. So like it's all trial and error from here.
Okay, I think you got to back up like fucking 10 steps. Where did you get that, and what was its intended purpose from the start?
Okay, so this was a chip or like a board, I guess, inside an old piano that was like it had like settings on it where it could be like a piano, like a flute, a violin.
Yeah.
So now it's basically, I took the keyboard off of it and like all the buttons because I don't need them. And I'm going to like solder on my own buttons. I just don't have buttons.
Right.
Or wire right now.
Okay, so did you start with the keyboard yourself and rip that out?
Yeah.
Basic. So then basically you know that it has all these functions, but you don't know what circuit these functions are housed in. So you're sending signal through it from what?
So you plug it into the wall. It's really dangerous.
Perfect.
or you can do it battery powered. I'm just like lazy. And then there's an output right here that I plug into my Focusrite.
Okay.
That goes right into Ableton.
Yeah.
And then so right off the bat, I just press record, and everything I press is like a glitchy noise here, glitchy noise there. It's like
fucking amazing.
Yeah. You know, like when you hear a drop, it's like bass, and then like glitch.
Fills. The synth fills. Yeah, the glitch.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
it's just like, yeah. And I think a sample pack's going to come from it once I actually like, because I know I wrote down all like the sweet spots. There's one here, like one here, and I got to add like buttons and shit eventually. And one of the buttons is just like every time you click it, it's like a different sample. I don't know how it happened. I can't explain it. It's just all trial and error. But
so this is so amazing. Like I wish I even had a fucking inkling to even start doing whatever you're doing is. Like,
well, you can start on like a Bop It or something. Even you can you can open up an old toy and just like every toy that has sound has a sound chip and has pitch.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I got an old. Bro,
that's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Piece of shit computer keyboard that has like a ocarina sound and a piano sound. And
exactly.
That's like basically what you're talking about. I'm gonna break that shit open and start.
Yeah, and just start messing around.
So
honestly, we're not done here, Tesco.
No. I got a question about this.
Did this thing fucking works? Like, did it output sound in a way that you can capture it? Like, how the fuck?
Yeah, and like you can go to a thrift store and just buy all the music toys. Like buy out the entire stock, and you have yourself like a bank of instruments you can just work on and like make cool sounds.
So is the main appeal that you don't know where everything's located and you have to dig it out, and you don't rely on the conventional format, or is the appeal that you can make new sounds out of this that it wasn't intended for because you're sort of ripping it free and doing your own thing?
I think the main purpose is really like you can put a piano roll in Ableton with a piano and then add effects to make it sound glitchy, or you can get a fucking thing like this and actually mess around with it and get real like circuit glitches that aren't supposed to happen, that like wasn't designed for.
Okay, so when you're doing the circuit bending stuff, you're getting sounds that if you kept it in the keyboard, it wouldn't have been able to produce those sounds. You're specific.
Yeah, like I can plug in a MIDI in. I can play like a C5 or something, and then just start messing around, and then it'll be like C5 with a glitch, or like you know what I mean. And then you can just play whatever note you want, I guess. But
so how do you plug that into the wall? Do you just use the DC power adapter?
Yeah,
and it plugs into like one of the slots on that board.
It's just like a guitar pedal.
Yeah, sick. Dude, I'm literally just thinking about this in my head. Like I have this.
Yeah, that's how it happened to me. I became obsessed.
I'm about to go rip this thing open right now. I need to know details. Okay, so and you just press your finger on the circuit board?
No, it's one of these things.
Yeah, I was about to zap myself.
Like you clip. I'll clip this alligator clip to one, and then I'll touch around with this, and it'll complete the circuit, whichever one I'm like looking for.
You got an alligator clip on the end of a screwdriver. Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, but it's like an actual tool.
Oh, it's like a thing that you're supposed to.
Yeah.
What is that called? I need to order that off Amazon.
It's like, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a $9 tool at like any Canadian Tire.
Dude, I love Canadian Tire as a store. I bought my like department store bike there. But I don't have one.
Yeah, I was gonna say
remotely close to me.
It's one of the best stores of all time.
I got this thing called a super cycle from there. It was a super cycle. It was great.
Yeah, there's no way that's the first time you heard like the super cycle brand, though, right?
No, it was. I mean, we don't have super cycles in the States, but it was a fun super.
Nick, do you not remember that being like the most popular bike like as a kid?
No, it was not here.
No,
That's
we had
crazy.
like Huffies and silver mongooses.
Yeah, exactly. We had mongoose and Huffy and.
Well, yeah.
What is gyro?
I haven't owned a bike since I was a kid, actually.
Yeah, same. yeah, it's just like I have like photographic memories of super cycles all over the place, and this guy's saying like a super cycle. What the
The cultural barrier is just too high.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can't relate on that level. Let's just keep poking circuit boards with random noise coming out. Yeah. That thing, I think it's like just basically like a circuit tester, man. It's like a current continuity tester. It's a really simple tool. Like you said, it's like a $9 tool. You can find that anywhere.
Or you can just use like a wire, like touch one end.
I'm pretty sure I have some stuff that would work.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you wire that room you're sitting in? I bet you had some scraps of Romex sitting around.
I did. So yeah, I'm just thinking of like, I wonder, because I don't want to like fry the circuit board from like fucking it up the first try. Because I'm so.
It's really hard to do, I found, but people say it's easy to do. I don't know if I'm just lucky.
So I'm assuming one of those resources you were talking about before, like Look Mono Computers, like what kind of inspired you to do this, or did you just fucking on a whim break?
Well, that just like related videos to him, really.
You're like, I could do this, and like this is the tool that I need.
It started off as just like people making really cool bass sounds with like just Barbie toys and shit. And like, actually, the first ever circuit bent I saw was someone circuit bent an audio Bible. So they like pitched down the voice, and it was like really, really low and like cool, and it was like a passage from like the demony parts or some shit, but it sounded cool. I think Deadmau5 tweeted it once, and I became obsessed.
That's all. No, I think the absolute mind-bending beauty of that is that you know for a fact the result is going to be both unexpected and not done before.
Yeah, exactly.
The combination of those two things is like so amazing. And like as you get, like Tesco, you touched on this. Like as you get better as a producer, you start to just yearn. Like your creative juice like comes from like the more rare and the more and like the more like I haven't heard that at all before. You know, like when you're just getting going, you're like, how do I do the Skrillex thing? And then when you get good enough, you're like, how do I do the I don't have a word for it thing. Like, how do I do the thing that literally no one else has even considered?
Yeah, pretty much the bleep bloop thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. Hey, so I was curious to get into a bit. I think the listeners would really appreciate this because I have a lot of sessions with students where they have trouble like articulating drops and ideas and overall arrangement of their songs. And I feel like that's one thing you do very well with the styles that you mesh together. Everything seems to flow together really nicely. And one thing that you brought up before is that you don't really use a template or anything like that all that often, but you know your techniques in and out really well, and you just kind of open up a project, pull up some operators, maybe a serum, and you just run it from scratch every time. Do you want to talk a bit about like your workflow and kind of how you approach music and why you prefer to just start from blank slate and move that way every time?
Well, I don't start from an absolutely blank slate. I just have like the side chain routed and stuff and like my groups. But basically I'll start off by using either just like a single note, like from D to F usually. And then I'll just like build drums around it. And then I'll look through samples. I'll toss like a melody sample, but I'll put like an auto pan or an auto filter on, so it's not really a sample anymore. It's just kind of like the like eerie notiness of it. I don't know how to really explain it, but you get like the tones, but you don't get the like sample, if that makes sense. And then once you start hearing tones, you just like add other tones. Cause I'm not really like a music theory type of person. I'll just like, if I have a D, I'll be like, ooh, an A sounds good on top of that. Ooh, F sounds good on top of that. And that's just like what I do to build. And then once I get my full arrangement down, that's when I start going ham on like actually making the sounds and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like usually I'll do like an intro with one sound, the drop with like just the sub and the drums with like maybe one bass. Like break down at another drop, and then I'll really start flipping everything around once like the skeleton's in shape.
Interesting. So do you mix like the heavy bass ideas with the melodic stuff off the bat, or do you sort of establish intro, drop, and then sort of merge them together that way?
Yeah, usually I keep the melody going onto the drop while I'm producing. So I'll make the drop like around my melody, and then I'll remove the melody afterwards.
Okay.
That's a really cool way to get continuity, because I think that's a lot of where tons of producers that are coming up get stuck. It's like, okay, cool, I made this cool intro, and then I came over here and I made this drop, and then I pressed play and let it go from A to B, and that doesn't make any sense. So finding that continuity, that's a really cool trick to get that done. Build your bass drop around your melody and harmony, and then just...
An even cooler thing is, if you use AutoPan or auto filter for your modulation on your basses, you can copy that over to your highs channel and then just flip it on when the drop hits. So then now your melody is wobbling with your bass. And that's how like I get my future bassy, like future rhythm vibes.
Sick.
Rhythm, I love it. And I also love that, like, if you did that and you had the melody playing over the top of the drop, it would be really hard to overcomplicate the drop, which I think fuck up. You've already had that space taken, so then you're like building the drop with like the space that's not already filled, and then you don't have this big amalgamation of too much shit when the drop comes in.
As long as my sub and drums are hitting perfect, that's right. But then I'll just start going ham. But before that, I really just focus on like making it sound good.
Totally.
Oh yeah. So how long you been working on Second Circle before it came out?
That was about, like, I'd say, like, I had some skeletons down. Then when the pandemic hit, I had so much free time that I just like cranked out like 15 songs. And you remember that I had like 9 songs at first. I sent to everyone, and I was like, what should I do with these songs? And I didn't know what to do with them forever. And then I just started building more songs and more songs. And then it kind of all happened in the same couple of months. So I was like, this needs to be an album. So it made sense to just make it the Second Circle.
Yeah, crazy, man. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, the 9 Circles concept and what you envisioned with these albums?
Well, the 9 Circle concept is really, like, I'm not really basing it off the 9 Circles of Hell, but I am doing 9 albums with probably like minimum 9 songs each. And like the titles are, I guess it's completely based off of it. But, but like, yeah, after that, like I have some EP ideas too, but after that, I don't know what's going to happen with Spirit House. But 9 albums is going to take a long time, at least like 5 years.
Totally. Have you started working on the 3rd?
Yeah. I'm like 5-6 songs deep.
Nice. And are you, is the idea still go heavier with each release, or are you like, what's been the new thing you're experimenting with now on the 3rd?
Well, the first circle is pretty much just lo-fi, just chill stuff. The Second Circle is kind of a mixture between hard and melodic. And 3rd is probably going to be mostly ambient and hard, and possibly some metal in there. Some like metal vibes with the bass. Definitely guitar and definitely bass.
Shovel guitar heavily featured.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. Most people would like think like hear 9 albums and be like, that's a lifetime worth of work. I have 2 follow-up questions to that. The question that I wanted to ask you when I heard that you would be joining us is, how the fuck are you so prolific with music that's actually sounding finished? You know, like, what is your workflow start to finish to where you don't overthink it?
See, that's where I'm going back to, I always make my sub and drum sound perfect. Because once your sub and drum sound perfect, your basses are really just like a little section of the EQ, like the middle part. If you like,
amen,
to make it simple. And then I just leave the room at the top end for the hi-hats and whatnot, like the lasery sounds. And I really, A good example would be how Barely Alive makes their music, or how they used to. I don't know if they still do, but they don't really put anything on their master chain. They just have like groups, their bass group, their high group, their drums group, their like ambient group, their risers group. And that way you can just sidechain the whole group so it sounds clean.
Mm-hmm. So because when I listen to your music, it sounds like you don't second guess a single decision you make. Is it typically a pretty linear format for how you write music? Is it like you find the right thing and add it? How much like painstaking effort goes into choosing things?
Whoa. I usually go through like I'll switch the drums at least 10 times before I release.
Okay.
But what stays the same for me is the sub. I always use just a basic operator sign and maybe a little bit of saturator on it. And I try to keep that around like -1.
Mm-hmm. So how many hours would you say it takes you from start to finish per track on average?
See, some tracks are like, I'll make the melody and go back to it months later. So I guess it's like many hours. But for some of the tracks on the album, it's just like I'll spend an hour or 2 on the melody and the skeleton. By skeleton, I mean like intro, like arrangement. And then I'll take a second session, maybe another hour or 2 to like make the mix sound good. And by mix, I mean just drums, sub, hi-hats. And then I'll pretty much just, once you have a flow down with the sub and drums, and once it sounds good at that end, it doesn't really matter what you do. You can duplicate your CRM patch 20 times, and every bar you can just like change it, and it'll still have a good mix because my mids group is EQ'd in a way where it's only taking up that space anyways. So I can just like sausage in a sound, and it'll sound good with my sub because my sub's separate.
Dude, I love that. I love that you have a process that you're confident in and that you also can experiment in, because for me, like I just end up spending, my time spent on a song fucking balloons. And for like, it's inspiring to like hear your process of like, nope, this is what I do and this works really fucking well, and I'm gonna put this stuff together, and when it's done, and fucking next one, and then just release 26 songs, just bang. Like, what the fuck? I have no fucking concept of how that happens. But,
I mean, have you ever made like a hip hop beat or like mass produce them? Like if you start looking at it like that, and then because then once you make a beat, you have the whole song, and then you can just change whatever you want. So if you just make a whole song, it doesn't have to be a good song. And then over a month or 2, you just start adding to it, and like you get inspired by different music that's been dropped and stuff. So maybe you add different elements, and that's how it's all done, I guess.
Yeah, you get it from the source.
Yeah,
you just get. Yeah, I love too that you said you have this system where you start with drums and sub, because I tell everybody that if you could base your mix around that, like you said, you could sausage in basically any other sound and place it exactly where you want in the mix, and it opens you up a lot more to the creative side of things, where you can just have fun and experiment and tap into that kid-like state of play versus, all the tutorials and stuff are great, but when you're in the zone, you don't want to be thinking of, I need an EQ at -12 here and technical this and this technical term and compression and multiband and blah, blah, blah. It's just.
The funny thing about that is like at least 10 of the songs, I pretty much don't EQ anything. I just compress it to taste, and then I'll EQ the whole group at the end to just make it not muddy.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Well,
and I love to real quick that you said you switch out the drums 10 times, because kick, snare especially are like 80% of your mix. So that's just
it may sound good in the beginning, like in your intro, and then once the drop hits, it's just not enough. So you have to, and you don't want to layer too many kicks, because then it sounds. I usually try to use one kick and multiple snares.
Yeah,
agreed.
Same. But I mean, that's just like such proof Proof in the pudding. I don't. Is that a saying?
the proof
is in the pudding.
The proof is in the pudding.
I don't know what that means, anyways. But continue.
The pudding here is that if you choose the right sounds, you don't really need to fuck with too much of the EQ. Like if it sounds good together already, like that's that job done. Like we've talked about on this podcast before many times about how the best sounding mix you ever do is also going to be the easiest. Mm-hmm. And that's not because some random chance. It's because the best sounding mix starts with the best composition of elements that aren't stepping on each other's toes, that sound good right from the start, and you only have to kind of nudge them a little to sound really great.
The best mixing tip I actually got was from you, Nick. I don't know what it's called, but the way the EQ cuts off like the 2.5 to 5K a little bit, then you boost the high ends. Yeah. That's what really made my music go from like kind of loud to it actually sounds loud now. You know what I mean?
Sick.
It's kind of like you're tricking the ears. You told me.
Yeah, totally. I think we talked about the Fletcher Munson curve in a previous episode, and I'm gonna make a note to link that down below. But yeah, man, I love that. I think that just makes it so much easier to have fun and write a lot more music. And I had a point there too that
all right, I'll fill some time while you remember it. Yo, I love that you spoke on focusing on group processing instead of always getting lost in the individual elements processing. Like if you pick a good element that sounds good and you know where it fits in your frequency spectrum, and then you just put all of them together and like, all right, what does this group of sounds need? Because it's all getting mashed together anyways. It's not, they don't stay separate when you bounce to a stereo 2-track.
Yeah. Like my production really went exponentially growing when Ableton added groups within groups in Ableton 10. Because then you can just stack 10 different tones or whatever, just get all the tones you want, and then just put one filter on all of it and just go like wub, 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 like modulated it all together.
Speaking of messing with tones and stuff, do you want to talk a bit about how your sound design approach has changed from the beginning versus now? Because you mentioned earlier you mainly use operator, for example, and I was just curious as to like what were the sort of mindset shifts to where you started making all of these 6 sounds with operator no problem, where people might have all the tools at their disposal but still be struggling with the foundations of sound design.
Well, I started using Massive, obviously, but like back in the day, and back then I used to always make almost the entire sound in Massive and maybe add like just like a little bit of compression after that and an EQ. But nowadays I'd say I try to do the least amount of stuff in the plugin and the most amount of stuff in Ableton afterwards, like a rack with my own filter with AutoPan and autofilter. And what pushed me from Massive to Serum to Operator was really just CPU problems, because once you get like 100-track or 100 Serum, 80 Serums, it's just like my laptop can't handle it, and I don't want to spend 2 hours freezing tracks and unfreezing them to like modify. So that's kind of what pushed me towards Operator more. And Operator and amp combo is just like unbeatable. It's just you instantly get the exact tone you want, like the FM tone, and it's just so much control, I guess. And that's why I love Operator.
So currently, is it just all Operator with FM and just layering multiple operators?
Well, usually I'll do like 1 or 2 operators for 8 bars, and then I'll duplicate them and change the sound for the next 8 bars. But I'll maximum stack like 4 or 5 sounds for a bass. But usually if I can get one clean bass out of it, I'll only have to layer like maybe I'll put something in the highest channel, like some lasers or something. But usually I would only layer if I'm missing a lot of high end or something. So I'll just add like a quick operator with an amp on it and cut all the lows out on top of it.
Do you think people might be getting held back a bit with all the options inside of these plug-in synths, and they should get more comfortable with bouncing stuff out? Or do you feel like, I guess, what's your perspective on?
I'm a big hater on basically the way you have to configure all the modulation in Serum with Ableton, and like pretty much every other plugin too. That's also a reason what drove me to Operator 2, I guess, because it's all set up right off the bat. But like the way you have to copy over the rates in one because if you stack two Serums, you have to kind of make the sound first with the filter in the Serum and then duplicate it so you have the same filter, the same values for that. But my way, if you just stack operators and then instead of using the internal filter, you use an external filter, you can just copy and paste it like 10 times really fast over, like all my operators will be like, because that's a big thing. It takes a long time to, I don't know if I'm just slow at using like the automation and Ableton, but with Serum, it was like a number value, not like a rate value. And it was really annoying to copy and paste because they would have to be, triplets would have to copy into triplets and non-triplets. Like I can rant about Serum all day, but like it's just like it takes too long to do stuff that should be easy, basically.
I think what it really boils down to, and that everybody can take away from this, is make process decisions of how you make your music based on like what keeps you in workflow, what keeps you in the flow state. Because if you're having to do something that's annoying and time consuming and troublesome, whereas you could just switch the tool you're working with, do the same thing in a moment, whatever your plugin is, whatever your DAW is, it doesn't matter. Make decisions. If process A takes too long and pisses you off, switch to process B and your life's better. And just do that now. That's part of your sound. That's part of your style.
Yeah.
People mostly go wrong because they don't think about, is there a process B? You know, they're just like, oh, this takes forever, but whatever. You know, I love that you're like, this takes too fucking long. How do I
Yeah.
like having the confidence in what you're doing to be like, nope, this is the new way I do it, and I like this new way, and it works for me. You know, rather than like a lot of people, and I guess it just comes with confidence and skill, right? A lot of people will be like, well, this is what other people are doing, or like this is how I did it before, and I'm scared that if I try this other new way, it's not going to sound as good, or it's going to be different than what other people are doing, and they're not going to really vibe with it, right? Having the skill and the confidence to do it a unique way or a different way, or your way in general, whatever you decide your way is, and then just running with that and making a 26 song fucking album. However long it took. How long did it take you to start?
It didn't take long at all. It was pretty much just the thing is, the way I write music is I'll get really motivated out of nowhere listening to like a song on the way home, and I'll finish like a full song in a night, and then I'll go like 2 weeks doing nothing. Like I won't even open Ableton, and then I'll have inspiration again. I'll write like 2 songs in one night, and then maybe it'll snowball into a couple songs that week, and then that's why it took so long. Like if I had to put hours on it, the 26 songs would probably be like 10 hours each. Or like 8 hours each, like a work day each.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's your beat.
In the dojo, they teach this concept of the 20-hour track guillotine. Like if you've been working on it for 20 hours and it's still not good, stop. For the love of God, stop. Do anything else.
That's like I may just lose track of time and actually go way longer, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
that 20-hour guillotine is for creating the composition of the track, though. Then mixing it and finishing it, like doing like.
Yeah,
mixing and mastering isn't included in that 20 hours.
I tried. My mixing and mastering was an hour before release.
Hey, for all 26 each?
Yeah, it was. Each it was like Each. It was like the morning of, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just mastered them all in a row.
Oh my God.
And then I just dropped it on DistroKid and waited for that to upload, dropped it on SoundCloud. Like, I didn't promote it at all.
Doing the finishing all in a row, just so you know, it's like, well, this is all going to be on the same par. I'm going to use the same process.
Yeah.
And I listened to it in a row just to make sure the subs all equally across the spectrum. And
well, I mean, there's something about that too. Is like if you take and you do it, if you have 26 songs and you master them all on the same day, like obviously all of those are going to have that. They're just going to sound like they were all painted with the same technique. You know.
Well, also I master within the project file. I don't like do external mastering. So by master, I really mean. I just go over the groups and push them to their max.
Make sure the levels pan out. Last final tweaks. I feel you. I'm also a big proponent of doing the mastering inside of the mix session, inside the project file, just because I find that once I crank everything to the loudness I want, I hear those last little tweaks I want to make. I'm like, ooh, like, let me dip this little EQ. Let me turn that up. Let me turn that down. Okay, that's what I meant. Otherwise, it used to take me all this time, like bounce out the 2-track, go over here, make my master and be like, oh, actually, let me go turn around and turn up the kick 2 decibels and turn, just like, okay, cool, pass it up. Ooh, it should have been 3 decibels. Let me spend my next 30 minutes fucking making the next version for 1 tweak.
Yeah, that's all the stuff you talked about today, Chris, is like where I try and get all of my students, because I feel like that's when you can really express yourself as an artist and really articulate your ideas with ease, is when you are already thinking 3, 4, 5, 6 steps ahead, and you know, like, okay, well, a EDM tune, all the elements sound a specific way because they have this compressed relationship between each other. All right, so I know my master is going to need at least some compression for the rough master. All right, so that means let me emphasize my mix a bit more. Let me get my drums and sub just a bit extra louder so that they still remain on top. And you're like anticipating these moves you're going to make in the future because you've done them so many times, and now you can work your way backwards and, for example, set yourself up with those groups, and now it's just drag and drop, and your side chain already sounds good, and your drums punch, and your sub is sitting in the right place. I think, you know, when you start to internalize little things like that, I'm a huge fan of like the subconscious mind making calculations, like while you're away from the DAW and like thinking about these things. And as you can familiarize yourself more with your approach throughout the whole process, you can start to anticipate some of these things and know how it'll sound before you even hop in.
Especially if you're working like a regular job and you're there for 8 hours, all you have to think about is really Ableton. That's your main hobby.
Yeah, totally.
I wanted to ask, this was the part 2 of what I started to say earlier.
Throwback.
So for the second circle of 9, how much conceptualization have you put into what all of those 9 are going to be, right? Like, how do you, because if it was me, I'd probably get too heavy by the 4th one and have nowhere to go on. By the time I get to 9, it would just be kick, snare, and then like white noise. Like, how does it get heavier? Like, I don't know.
Well, so far, really, like my friend gave me the book, and that's how this kind of all started, my cousin's fiance. And I read the first circle, and as I was reading it, I would like make the songs and name the project files after the vibes I was getting from reading it. And I'll probably just continue naming the songs like that and getting inspiration like that by reading the 3rd and then 4th and 5th and 6th.
Sure. I like that though, because then you don't overthink it. You're just like, how do I feel reading this? And then you can realize. But
the thing about getting heavier and heavier and heavier is I think I can leave room for heaviness. Like, I think I'll be good.
Yeah.
Because by the 9th, it'll probably be like satanic thrash metal.
I was gonna
And,
say,
like,
just gonna be like fucking black metal and not
yeah, like black metal with like a rhythm drop or something.
Sick. So you're going full experimental with this.
Yeah, like I've been training my vocals every day, getting ready for it. 'Cause I want to get like up to the point where I'm like, you guys know Eugene?
Yeah.
Oh,
Awesome.
like goosebumps every song.
Yeah, dude, super unique.
I have some listening homework. Eugene.
Is it just spelled Eugene, or is it spelled like?
Yeah.
It's like Eugene, but it's there might be like a period at the end of it.
Oh yeah, I think
He does really ambient-y vocally stuff, and then the drop just hits at like 0. So like perfect.
This is all lowercase.
Yeah.
I think I found him.
shout out Eugene.
Red logo. He just had a release on Subsidia.
What's it
Yeah.
called? Poison.
Poison and then Anvil too.
Sick. Yep. Got my homework.
Sick. Super dope, bro. Well, I think that's pretty much a wrap here. I want to give you an opportunity to plug your pluggables and maybe if there's anything else that people should know about you. Want to give you the spotlight here just to talk a bit about what people can expect from you and where to find you.
I'm mostly active on Twitter at spirithost_. And my Insta is just Spirit Host. My SoundCloud is Spirit Host Music, I think, or Spirit Host Dubs. Spirit Host Dubs. And you can expect some heavy ass shit, basically. I have a song that I'm almost done. I have at least 10 collabs on the way, and I have a song with a collective coming out in the next few months.
Cool.
Very nice,
man. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was an awesome conversation. It was great to see you again, my man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
I think everyone needs to come away from this podcast episode. Hey, go listen to this man's music. He a 26-song album. Do you have any concept for making that much music and dropping it out of nowhere?
Yeah,
in fact, you don't.
Your favorite artist would have done five song EPs.
Yeah, and so like go home and think about what it takes to have that much confidence in your process to just like do it and put it out like that and like get it done.
Yeah,
I'm certainly thinking about that tonight, crying myself to sleep. My musical output in comparison, but no, for sure. Go listen to this guy's music and then honestly think about how you can speed your stuff up, because there's lessons to be learned for everyone in this concept of what works for you, conceptualizing how your process works and having that confidence in your skill and your process to continue making all of your music and finish it that quickly. So yeah,
totally.
Thank you for joining us.
I actually have another tip that helped me a lot.
Yes.
Bonus tip.
So what helped me really start dropping music and actually finishing songs was something my friend told me. He told me, once you drop it on SoundCloud, it's going to be there forever for even like your grandchildren to see. Like once it's on the internet, it's there forever. So like, why are you sitting on music? Just put it on the internet so it could just start living its life on the internet, and then it'll be there forever. And you can just move on and do your next song. That's what really got me to just like get over being a perfectionist with my music.
I just love it. Like, you look at everything in such a different way. I just love this. I
don't even talk to people. This is the first conversation I've had in like 5 days.
I love this because
thanks for being here with us.
Literally, what you just said, most people would take it the exact fucking opposite way.
Exactly.
It's going to be on the internet forever. Oh my God, that's too much pressure. Everyone's going to hear it.
In 10 years, it's going to be a sick vintage indie song that like all the teenagers are going to want to be playing in the...
best part about thinking of it like that is that like, just put it out there and let it breathe. Let it live its life. Don't judge it too much. Your art is not for you to judge. And I think that's where most people fuck up, is they start thinking about what it says about them and what people will think about their skills and their creativity and like how good it is. And like, just put it out there and let it breathe. Especially in today's day and age, where as long as it's authentic and done quality enough.
Like at the end of the day, people are skipping your intro straight to the drop anyways.
Yeah.
So like, let's just drop your music.
Yeah, just drop the beat. And
man. Yeah, that's awesome. This is why I was super stoked to have you on today. I feel like you're just somebody that's, at that point in their musical journey, and to where, you know your tools, and not only that, but you've really just embodied what it means to be an artist, and you're at that point where you can just let it free flow now and express yourself that day, and you're not stuck to the perfectionist mindset, and you can drop music and you can mess with cool instruments and just make cool shit happen. So I'm super stoked for people to hear this episode, man, and definitely going to be referencing my students to this episode on your workflow approach, because I think what you talked about today is huge. And yeah, man, thanks for blessing the humans with your knowledge today, and looking forward to when we do Spirit Host Part 2, my man.
Definitely. I'm gonna go dismantle the keyboard and zap myself. I'm probably gonna message you later. Like,
you could die, but there's a chance it also won't hurt that much. So
yeah.
So, Evan, just make sure that you also set up a mic so you get a mud pie of all your yells next to the mud pie of all the cool sounds.
Also use rubber gloves.
Oh, good call.
Well, I don't, but like I did at first. I was terrified.
You have proper electricity. I'll just throw
It's DC voltage. You'll be fine. The converter's got you.
Well, I might, yeah.
We're gonna.
It's all the warning labels that get to me, but
The Human Music Podcast does not endorse electrocuting yourself in any way, shape, or form. We are not liable for your electric shocks.
that would be free promo though. Just saying, if you died by like circuit bending, your song would go viral.
Yeah, shit. That's why you got to release music. If you keep sitting on your music, you're gonna die for no reason.
And then no one will ever hear it. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody else is gonna dig through your hard drive full of unreleased tunes to release.
Yeah, something that's called like AWSF.ALS.
Yeah.
Like, nope, you're gonna people look at it like your grandparents' attic and just be like, let's just pay somebody to take it all to the curb. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. Don't die with your music.
Priceless paintings.
That's
Getting rained on.
kind of the takeaway here. Don't die with your music on the hard drive. Just
Die with your music on SoundCloud.
Exactly.
Woo!
The SoundCloud will never die.
SoundCloud is life, bro.
All right, peace, humans.
Peace, humans.
And peace among worlds.
I like it.
What's up, humans? It's Luke, your friendly neighborhood trap Jesus. Thanks so much for watching the podcast, checking out our videos. We truly appreciate you. So, Rip Kenny, Tesco, and myself got you a gift. We made you a free sample pack. It's got basses, it's got FX, it's got crazy percussion and Foley sounds, and it's free. It's all yours. Just click the link in the description below. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with your friends. We appreciate you. Peace out and peace among worlds.